Namaskar. This is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. A recent CMI report says that India lost 5 million salaried jobs in the month of July alone, and that the total salaried jobs lost by India since April is 18.9 million. Salaried jobs are primarily in the urban sector, and thus we are referring to jobs lost in urban India primarily. Even though June witnessed an addition of 3.9 million jobs, says CMI, but that upsurge in jobs or creation of new jobs was short-lived. It was short-lived because June was just witnessing the demand for April and May surfacing, and employers did add some jobs, but that was short-lived. We have seen July seeing vanishing jobs to the tune of 5 million numbers again. According to the CMI, India is witnessing an unhealthy recovery in its economy, and that because of that, the situation for the middle class has been worsening. The situation for the salaried class has been worsening, and as we said, it is more to do with urban India. According to the CMI, this situation of jobs being lost is because of the continued pandemic, continued lockdown and close down, and the disruption that it has caused in our economy and in our daily lives. That was the report of the CMI. It had to do with the salaried class, more to do with urban India according to us. Here's another report on the same topic, but for the youth of India. The ILO and ADB, the International Labour Organization, has come up with a survey, come up with a report, and it says that in the next 3 months, it expects Indian youth to lose 41 lakh jobs, and that if this situation continues, in the next 6 months, the number of jobs that the youth will lose is going to be 61 lakh in India. This report is to do with youth primarily in the age bracket of 15 to 24 years. And it is this young generation which is facing a situation of no jobs, fewer jobs, job cuts, no jobs and employment after graduation, disruption in jobs. That is, you may be seeing underemployment, you're not getting jobs to do with your caliber and talent, and disruption in education and training. According to the ILO, it is the pre-COVID crisis in unemployment in India which has got amplified because of the pandemic. And the ILO now calls this generation as the lockdown generation. The generation of youth which is witnessing that when it is ready for employment, it is getting no jobs, no employment, and it will probably remain underemployed or unemployed. According to the ILO, we need immediate, urgent, large-scale, targeted measures from the government of India in order to generate more jobs. And we also need to ensure, it says, that the disruption in training and education does not continue. Because if education and training get disrupted, we are going to see a bigger problem in future years. So here we have two reports from two different authorities, CMI and the ILO. They both concern different segments of society of India. One is the salaried class and the second is the young youth, 15 to 24 years age. And both of them have the same conclusion. Jobs being lost in India at a large scale because of the disruption, because of the continued lockdown and the close down of the Indian economy. While both these reports point to a disturbing, grim reality in the case of employees, the fact of the matter is that if an employee is jobless, that is because even the employer is without work or he too is jobless. It is the employer's grim reality which reflects on increasing joblessness in India. And the employer's reality is because of the economic crisis, he's facing a situation of eroding businesses, depleting, shrinking businesses, or even vanishing and closing businesses, and cash flows getting out of the system. Joblessness or job cuts is a dark reality or compulsion which actually the employer faces, because in reality, no employer likes to downsize for no reason or close his business because of which job cuts takes place. It is the overall pressure of the economic crisis today which is forcing job cuts to take place. Downsizing is taking place, closures are taking place. But then the fact of the matter is that India is not alone in this crisis. We are facing job cuts and joblessness even in countries like US. In the US since March, 30 million jobs have been lost so far. While in the US in July there was a better situation, but according to us, As the economy there also continues to be uncertain, job cuts or joblessness will continue to a large extent. Or why take the case of America? Take the case of the Middle East back home. The Middle East has seen millions of Indians come back to India because of job cuts there. Thus, it's a global scenario and job cuts will take place. It's a grim reality that we are all facing. This crisis that the employer and the employee faces, according to us, will only get aggravated post 31st August. And that's because the moratorium that employers or borrowers have at the moment and even employees have is going to get over and recoveries will start. That's the point also when at the moment the government support to whatever extent was there also seems to be getting over, and post 31st is going to be a scene when the protection to the employers, to the borrowers, to the employees is going to be over and hard reality will dawn on all of them. With every call for recovery, with every call for recovery of loans that the borrower is not able to honor, with every default in making payment, the reality will dawn that cash flows are not there and businesses are going to be disrupted even more at that time. The banker and the borrower will both see a very different time because still now there has been a kind of a protection. The problem has been put below the carpet, and because of this, post 31st August, job cuts are only going to get aggravated according to us till the time the economy stabilizes and some kind of a turnaround is resumed in the economy. So what is the larger picture that is emerging in respect of the post 31st August scenario, particularly with reference to employment, to the condition of the employees and the employer? It's very obvious that the pandemic is continuing, and with that, the lockdown and the close down in the economy has also been on. The disruption in the economy remains, and we are witnessing poor demand, poor spending, and weak business for the manufacturers, suppliers, in other words, for the employers. There's a contraction of the economy which we are witnessing, and that's continuing. And because of that, India is witnessing the worst ever recession since 1980. In fact, perhaps it is an unprecedented contraction of the economy that we have ever witnessed. But this is going to continue post 31st August. That translates into eroded cash flows, that translates into eroded savings for the employees, that translates into perhaps more job cuts, more pay cuts before the situation stabilizes. And while this scenario continues, because of recovery pressures on borrowers and because of the banks being compelled to now chase borrowers to recover their loans, there are going to be more defaults in the economy. What we are seeing is that despite the onset of the festival season that's now in the pipeline, we are not witnessing any great improvement in demand, any great improvement in the overall macro fundamentals of the economy. And that's because where is the income? Where is the cash flow? If you want demand, you want spending, you first need income. And that is where the erosion or depletion of the economy has taken place. We are seeing now that monetary policy initiatives of the RBI have their own limitations. That has run its course, and it is fiscal initiatives which are needed. Sadly, the government appears to be clueless at the moment. What is the way out of this scenario? Or rather, how do we minimize this situation? Because with the pandemic on, we are going to witness economic disruption, but the need is to minimize it. And according to us, minimization of the crisis, minimization of the grim reality will happen first by ensuring that restructuring of loans takes place across the board for all those who need it and deserve it. By doing that, recovery pressures on borrowers will go such that they will need and they will be able to concentrate on their own businesses rather than avoiding any kind of defaults and emergency measures to pay away the bankers, because of which their businesses would suffer. We thus need an across the board restructuring to take place. We need to contain the defaults in the economy and give some kind of a normal scenario to the employers to be able to conduct their businesses. Recovery calls on them need to be minimized. The banks will also need to lend wherever a unit is viable, because in the last 6 months there has been no income, as we have been saying very often. Cash flows have gone, savings have gone, and in case employees want their employers to do business, someone will have to give them money. That has to be either the banks or the government of India. That means a fiscal stimulus from the government such that the government spends big time and the government also gives money big time to all those who need. Those who need are going to be employers who need to run their businesses so that jobs start coming back. If this is not done according to us, the job cut and jobless scenario is not going to be minimized, and we hope that somewhere minimization happens, because joblessness and job cuts, apart from being an economic crisis, is also a huge social crisis. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.